Hello, my loves. This is Johanna Burkhardt. I am a multidimensional channel, teacher, healer, and author. And I am obsessed with all things metaphysical, esoteric, galactic, and of course, the healing journey. And I'm here to share my stories, my wisdom, and my teachings about being human in the illusion that we call reality. Welcome to Cosmic Blonde. Hello, my loves, and welcome to season 3 of Cosmic Blonde. I cannot believe I'm on season 3 already. It feels like yesterday that I started this podcast, and so much has changed in the few short months that we have been off season. It has been a wild ride for sure. In that time, submitted my book, Desperately Seeking Me, The Road to Finding and Choosing Myself, to many publishers who don't require agents. I have been submitting query letters to agents to pick up my book to help make it into the higher end top publishing houses. And I have embarked on a journey of what I call living from the end. I am a huge Neville Goddard fan. For those who don't know that about me, I am obsessed with the law of assumption because we have to remember that our state of being is what creates material matter, right? Our state of being is what materializes. Our circumstances don't create anything. Only our state of being can create anything. And so by assuming that I'm already a six-figure published author with a book deal from one of the top 5 self-help publishing deals and sharing that I did receive that every single day until it materializes is what I'm currently doing. And it is an act of delusion, but that is what you have to do. You have to be delusional with your dreams. You can't stay idle in hoping and wishing that something's going to happen, that your reality is going to shift. You cannot wait for your circumstances to be different, to feel successful, to feel free, to feel happy, to live the life that you are desiring, because it will just keep you stuck in more of the same, waiting, dreaming, wishing, because in that, you're showing lack. And we have to remember to come back to the now moment. When we are not present, when we are in our head, when we are digging through the algorithm of the past and replaying old beliefs and old identities, we stay stuck in that. We stay fragmented. Our consciousness is scattered over many different frequencies and dimensions, many different versions of us. But when you practice and become good at being present in the now moment, accepting reality in every second for what it is, that is when we enter in to the flow state. That's when we start to see things shift and change. And a big part of that is the work that I have been doing in my Evolve community and the program that I recently put out in my Evolve community called Identity Shift. Identity shifting is something that showed up for me earlier this year and is something that I have been practicing. And identity shifting is when you recognize a belief or a trigger or something that's limiting you, you are now in control. You now have the power. In that moment, you can see the belief that is creating an identity. And when you see that, you can say, is this belief something that is still serving me? And sometimes it will be. And I have to stress that because whatever we believe is serving us until it isn't. And the moment we recognize that this belief isn't serving us anymore, we actually have the power to create a new belief. We can say, well, what do we believe now? Is that serving me? If it's not serving me, then what is serving? What would be a belief that would serve me in this moment and remove me from that negative feedback loop and put me into a new cycle, a new version of me, a new identity? And this work has become so powerful, and it truly stemmed from me finishing Desperately Seeking Me. As I wrote that book, as anytime I write anything, it's another layer of healing for me. It's another layer of embodiment of my actual truth. And that's why I love storytelling. That's why I share my story so much and different ways, because as I shift and change, as I release those beliefs that created the identities that kept me stuck in more of the same, I'm able to tell a new story. I'm able to see the power in who I was and what I went through as fuel for who I am today. I'm able to change that identity. I'm able to change that story and what it means. Those circumstances, the things that you went through, they still happened. We're not saying that they didn't happen, but we're telling a new story about why it happened and how we're utilizing it and who it allowed us to be, not who we are because of our trauma, right? Those are just identities. And I need to also say that every person on the planet has many identities. That's why I always laughed when people talked about multiple personality disorder. Your personality or your identity is just shaped by the beliefs that you're holding, the programming that you're carrying. And you can shift and change that multiple times a day. But there are some dominant ones that are run by the subconscious mind that are really keeping you stuck. So when we get into those root beliefs, we can have the big identity shifts or shedding that allow us to reveal who we authentically are. And that's what I have been doing a lot of this year. And that's why I decided to take people through the identity shift process. And something that others have said, I've had a few people say this isn't like any other course that I've done. This isn't something that's just complete after the last module. In fact, there may even be another series of classes or videos that I put out to continue on this. But the framework that I put in Identity Shift is something that you will forever be able to use. And honestly, that's most of the work that I do is always a continuation. However, this set of structures and understandings that I lead people through an identity shift, I can't even tell you how much they've changed my life, how much they've changed my perspective, how much they've changed my ability to hold a state of being. And it's just been a whirlwind. It's been an absolute whirlwind. This episode has been brought to you by Evolve, an all-access pass community designed to evolve your soul. It is founded on the energy of support and includes a up to 3-hour Zoom monthly group meeting where we can do hot seat coaching, channeling, guidance, and of course, support. It includes an exclusive group chat with access to me 7 days a week. It also includes 11 plus digital courses, 54 digital products in total, made up of meditations, language of light transmissions, master classes, and an exclusive 50% off discount with sessions. If you are someone who is wanting to create the reality that they are desiring and live your most magnetic and authentic life filled with power and confidence, then Evolve is where you want to be. Join us. But also during this past few months that we've been off season, I have been once again in the void. And I tend to be here a lot because I evolve and shift and change very rapidly. It's something that I've always done, even before I really recognized that I was even on an awakened path. I tended my whole life to outgrow people very quickly because I have such an open mind and can see all sides of things. But being in this void has been different this time because I can feel this big shift coming for me. Except this time, it doesn't feel doom and gloom. And in the past, when I have felt this way, when I have heard the whispers of you're going to miss this, when I have felt this massive energy coming towards me, while I still have moments where I can feel fear in my body, I have more excitement than anything because I don't know what's coming. But what I do know is that it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. No matter how it looks, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be the fruit of the seeds and the tree that has been growing for so long, so long. And I'm so excited for you guys to be on this journey with me. And I'm so blessed to have such an amazing community of listeners who love me telling my story, me sharing my transparency and vulnerability. It's just, it's something that I don't take for granted. I don't take for granted. And I'm so grateful for those of you who reach out and share how these episodes or how my work has changed your perspective or changed your life. And I just want you to know how grateful I am for each and every one of you as we prepare for this amazing season. One thing that happened very recently in the month of September was the passing of Charlie Kirk. I was not a huge follower of him. I knew who he was. I've seen a lot of his videos, and I do understand what he stood for. I understand that he stood for us being able to have healthy debates, to let other people share their perspectives, and try to prove him wrong. I thought that what he did was amazing. And I love that he is rooted in faith, even though I'm not a religious person. I love that he was rooted in his faith because whatever your faith is, you should be rooted in that, including the faith in yourself. What was shocking to me was the aftermath of his passing and how many people were celebrating and rooting for his death. That really took me by surprise. And I didn't see this because it was all over my algorithm. I saw this because I follow people who have different political beliefs than me, different beliefs in general than me. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I liked them as people. I enjoyed their craft and them sharing about their craft. The same way I still listen to music and enjoy music from people who also have differing beliefs and different political alignments than me. And I chose to unfriend, unfollow those people who I witnessed celebrating the death of a father and a son and a husband. Our words are weapons. And what people say can hurt. But nobody should ever die. And nobody should ever want someone to die for sharing their perspective in life. Truth is subjective. Every single person's truth is true and makes up the whole truth. There is not one truth. It is made up of multiple truths. That is the truth. And just because we don't agree with somebody and what they're saying or what they believe in does not warrant their death. The day after, actually, let me back up. The evening after everybody found out that he had passed away, I felt this massive collective rise of anger and agitation and liberation in the collective field. Normally, when these kind of big events happen, I tend to back off of social media. Even though I have really good energetic boundaries, when there are millions, if not billions of people outraged by an event, that is a lot of energy. That is a lot of energy backing the rise of anger and liberation. This time I didn't back away. I leaned in. And I wasn't sure why I was doing that. until the next morning. So when I awoke on September 11th is already a hard day for the collective just because of what we all experienced on that day and how traumatic it was. And so there's always going to be an energy signature for that day. But when I woke up on that morning, it wasn't about September 11th. I was receiving guidance of the fact that we had collapsed a huge timeline and we had shifted, and how there was going to be this massive tipping point or turning of the tides, the guide said. And there was also this underlying dual energy. Yes, the energy of anger and liberation. And I'm going to be your voice, Charlie. I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to continue to be a voice in this world and promoting healthy debate and promoting that it's okay to be different and it's okay to share your truth and perspective. Also coupled with this fear of, but look what happens when we do. We're persecuted, literally. And I was saddened by that, but the guides came in and said, this is why a lot of what I do is so important, because my work is about embracing that uncertainty, embracing the risk that we take in being authentically who we are and sharing our authentic truths and perspectives, not to convince people to believe what we do, but to open their mind to the possibilities of other perspectives. To be a light in this world and sharing your truth, your story, your perspectives, because it might change somebody's life. What I witnessed after that was seeing the evidence of over 2 million people shifting their political alignments, not even because they want to be conservative or because of anything else other than them witnessing people who had, or they thought they had similar beliefs, celebrating the death of a human being and how they didn't no longer wanted to be aligned with a party that promoted that. And to continue to share my voice and my truth and encourage people to risk it. Risk implies vulnerability. And to think that he didn't know the risk he was taking at any given moment is silly. He didn't die in vain. He died doing what he felt was his mission and his calling in life. And for that, I commend him. The other piece is also to remind people that you have to be an observer. You can't take everything you see or hear on social media or the news to heart. And I know you guys know that if you're listening to me, because the powers that be don't align with one particular party. And that's what I think people forget. The powers that be, the elite, whatever you want to call them, they align with the narrative of creating a story that creates fear and division. And this is why the guides have said for at least the last 5 years that in the future, we will look back at this time, beginning with 2020, and it will be called the frequency wars, because it is a war on our frequency. They use storytelling, their narratives, and actually they've used this for longer than 2020. This has been going on far, 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 far beyond that. This narrative and storytelling was being used before we even had media. In fact, my son and I went to a military museum while he was here for his birthday, and we were looking at the propaganda posters and newspapers and magazine articles from before, we had social media, from when before TV was in everybody's house. And we can see how long this has been going on. It's just a lot easier now with social media and how there's, everybody has televisions in most rooms of their house. So we have to remember that the powers that be aren't aligned with one particular political agenda. Their agenda is to promote fear and division so that they can control the population. And the way that we achieve freedom is to create our own narrative. It is to observe and to create our own version of the truth and what it means for us. So this is just a reminder that there's going to be a continuation of wild events that take place in the collective over the next few years. And it's done on purpose. It's done to pull back the curtain, to show you the truth. And I've seen so many people notice how his death was quickly used as a psyop for creating a fear-based or division in the collective, a story that promotes fear and division. True unity comes when we can see each other as humans, as spiritual beings having a human experience, I should say, and that we can listen to another person's opinion or perspective or truth and see it as that, their perspective, opinion, or truth, and not as a trigger against our personal opinion, belief, or truth. It's not a point to fight to make everybody think the same. There would be no evolution if we all thought the same thing, if we all held the same belief, if we all had the same opinion. We need contradiction in order to grow and evolve our consciousness. It is necessary. So remember that. This isn't about deleting all your friends or followers or unfollowing, unfriending people who don't have the same beliefs. It's about looking at their values. Do they value human life? Do they value our freedom to have our own voice and our own opinion, even if we disagree with it? That is how you should be choosing your friends and followers. Not because they aren't Democrat, liberal, conservative, or whatever it is that you are, or even aligned to a particular religion. It isn't about that. It's about, are they kind? Do they value human life? Do they value having an open discussion? The same way it works with having people in your life that trigger you, that challenge you. Again, are they doing it by being themselves and being authentic? Having people in your life that are not the same as you, that maybe are further along on their journey than you, or maybe you feel like they're not as evolved as you on your journey. They're all there for a purpose. It's all divine. Anybody that you have in your life at any given point is a divine orchestration of your creation. And I want you to remember that. I just wanted to add that in because it has been something that I have felt, and the energy since we had that major timeline collapse, the energy has just felt weird, for lack of a better term. It's just felt weird. I have felt off. I've known other people who have felt off. It was such a big collapse that I feel like we're all still trying to settle. And in the middle of that, this happening in between eclipses is even more powerful, and right before the equinox, which is the equinoxes and solstices are the most impactful energy that we will experience. It isn't the portal dates, it isn't the eclipses, it isn't full moons, it isn't certain astrological alignments. It truly is the equinox and solstice that create the biggest collective shifts for us. So all of this happening even before the equinox is so powerful and so divine that it's crazy to me. But I feel like we're all trying to recalibrate and recenter after that massive shift. So if you've been feeling off since that time, know that you're not alone. Okay, season 3, is jam-packed with some phenomenal guests, their stories. We're going to be diving into plant medicine. We're going to be diving into 9D breath work. We're going to be diving into these massive healing journeys, different modalities. We will have the return of my resident monthly guest of Christine Freeland from Mystical Mindset Coaching and Earth's Kiss Alchemy. And I know you guys love her as a fan favorite. And so I encourage you to interact with these episodes, to ask questions, to share your thoughts and insights. I really enjoy hearing feedback, and I really appreciate all of you who subscribe and rate my podcast, because I am holding the state of being that I will have a in-person iHeartRadio show of my own where I can have these guests on and be in the iHeart studios. It is something that will materialize. It will be something that does happen. And it's going to help me to get ranked. If you guys can rate my podcast and you can interact with it, like, share, comment, all of those things are free for you to do. And they're very supportive of me and my mission to be able to reach and help as many people as possible. So thank you for being here. I'm so excited for season 3, and let's get this show on the road. Hey, thanks for listening. This episode was brought to you by JohannaBurkhardt.com, where it's time to defy the limits of your mind and step into your multidimensional mastery. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. See you next time.